The Lagos State government has revoked all commencement certificates on building construction till further notice. This comes as the government also banned overnight construction, as well as people, particularly laborers, from sleeping at construction sites in the state. TVC News senior reporter Theophilus Elama has more.
In the aftermath of the building that collapsed days ago, some buildings just like this one have been marked for demolition. Of course, we went around this area and we saw that beyond being marked for demolition or for material testing, some have cracks in between, just like this same one, while other ones also have cracks all around this particular estate. It means that the government agencies have a lot of work. Government agencies in charge of building regulations arrived at the site of the collapsed building in Maryland, Lagos. They are here for an on-the-spot assessment of the situation. But while here, other buildings were seen as not habitable, hence the markings.
Most construction don't invite LAPCA for stage inspection. Like the sites that we are in today, we're not being invited for stage inspection. It was during the monitoring inspection that we noticed that the site has been constructed to the first floor slab, and all necessary notices were being served to stop the work.
We are going to take an overall view of the property within the estate. We are going to mark them. We are going to direct some of them to go to material testing and do the needful. But those that are extremely very glaring, like the one we showed you, we are going to evacuate people from that site.
The government ordered a revocation of all commencement certificates on buildings under construction in the state and asked all developers to go for revalidation of their documents or risk being shut down.
All commencement certification in Lagos from today is revoked. All. Everybody who has a construction site, it doesn't matter who you are. You can be one of the big five. Go back to LAPCA office to go and get a revalidation of that document. If you decide not to go for revalidation of that documentation, we are going to seal that site.
From 7 to 7 is the construction period. Nobody should sleep on site. Yes, we know that they are getting it as a cheap labor to make people sleep on site. But the hazard, the cause, the effect of their sleeping on site is worse than the money that they want to make.
The Lagos State government used the opportunity to eliminating building collapse in the state.
Former Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Institute of Building, Lagos State, Godfrey joins me on the news at 10 for more on this worrying trend. Mr. Godfrey, today alone, we've recorded 2 different cases of building collapse in different parts of the country, and unfortunately, 4 people dead already in this incident. When incidents like this, happen, we hear of committees being set up, but that doesn't stop recurrence. Where are we getting it wrong?
Thank you very much. We are getting it wrong in the aspect where the processes that are laid down are not adhered to. There are professionals who are saddled with the responsibility to carry out building construction on sites. Unfortunately, what we have today is that construction has become an all-commerce affair. And unless and except that is checked, what we are seeing unfortunately may continue to happen.
So how do we ensure that best practices are followed at every stage of the construction project?
Yeah, so of course, we know that buildings don't collapse on paper. They actually collapse on site, right? So what we need to do is that the enforcement for those construction projects, those that are assigned, that are registered and have the training to carry out the construction project, are those who are allowed to do that. Now, the construction industry has various professionals, but there are the builder, the builder is the one who is able to carry out construction work on site. And of course, with the support of the other professionals like the architects, the engineers, and the other professionals. So if we must get this thing right, we must make sure that, like the regulation states, okay?
Yes.
We are good with all the processes on paper, but the implementation is where we are lagging behind. So if the regulation says that you must inform the government to come and carry out stage certification and inspection on your project, for them to ascertain that, oh, what has been designed is what you have done at this stage, and that is followed. There is no way we'll be having all of these collapses. It's not possible. So it's just going to the procedures that are already there to follow it to the letter and implement it. If you sites that are not following what, and unfortunately this is almost across the country. Yes, all of those processes and regulations are domiciled in the state, but somehow we have all the states, including the FCT, adopting these regulations, almost in unison. So we in the professional, in the construction industry, always appeal that government should not look back in using the heavy hammer on those those quacks they find on site, who of course personal.
And talking about those quacks, you mentioned that it's become an all-comers affair. I'm wondering how you can actually rid the profession of these quacks to ensure that all we have is, meet up with standard.
Yes, part of how to go about it is that there must be enforcement of regulation. There must be prosecution. Okay, even where situations where we've had collapses where people die, we've hardly heard of any prosecution and imprisonment. So how can we continue in this manner without those culprits being prosecuted, being imprisoned, and having even the client who engages the what's it called, the quacks, should also be sanctioned. Those quacks who engage in it should also be sanctioned. So by the time they all have serve terms in prison and heavy fines are meted out, including impounding the sites, I'm sure that all of this will begin to come down gradually. But situations where buildings collapse, it becomes business as usual. Before you know, they go back to work on that project and everything dies down. There's no way it's going to stop because they are not penalized heavily.
All right, then. Former Public Relations Officer, Nigeria Institute of Building, Lagos State, Godfrey, thank you for talking to us.